Now, this policy's got legs. Eliminate the police, defund the police, whatever you want to call it. Now it has legs. Now people are penciling out specifics, and some of these specifics are, wow. Here's one from Portland. Quote, more than 800 parents, teachers, and students have signed the request asking Portland schools to terminate an agreement with the Portland Police Department for the use of 2 school resource officers. They're trying to take the cops out of the schools, the cops who are specifically in schools to prevent the mass shootings that have caught on since that horrific mass shooting in Columbine. Oh, just so you don't think Portland's all alone, Madison, Wisconsin. Madison Teachers Union backs removal of police from high schools. Oh, wait, there's more. Denver. The majority of the Denver School Board shows support for removing police from schools. Ted Cruz is rightly horrified by this whole thing. He took to Twitter and said, Dems have lost their minds. Having met repeatedly with victims, parents, and teachers hurt by gun violence in schools, the single most effective way to keep our kids safe is more armed police officers in schools. This idiotic proposal would tragically result in more school shootings. So what's the answer? What do they really want? Well, if you would like to know what they really want, here's as specific as they seem to get.
What happens if there's a criminal out there with a gun and starts shooting people? Who's going to respond if there's no police force?
Look, it is our top priority to keep every single member of our community safe. And if you look back at the last 150 years of our police department, it is becoming increasingly clear that that model of policing isn't working. So we need to invite in our whole community, the 9 members of the city council that came from every corner of our city to stand together to make this commitment. We don't have all the answers. And what we committed to was a community process to help reimagine public safety. So yes, we still have a police department in Minneapolis today. I hope it won't take 150 years to get to that looking forward, that next solution. But we have a lot of wisdom in our community. We have invested in community-based safety strategies. We did an analysis of all the reasons people call 911 in our city to look at ways we can have an appropriate response. So we've laid the groundwork, and in many ways, this will be incremental change over many years.
Okay, so you don't know. You know, there's a great rule for you parents out there, one I'm sure you're well aware of. If I walk into the kitchen and I see a glass of spilled milk on the counter that hasn't been cleaned up, and I bring both of my sons in, and I say, son number 1, did you spill that milk? And he says, no, wasn't me. And I say, son number 2, did you spill that milk? And he said, well, I was out back the whole time. It was actually, you should have seen the thunderclouds outside. It was wild. And then I picked up this lizard. And then you should say, by the way, I found a wasp nest out there. Did I tell you about the worms I caught? That's the one who did it. The longer the answer, the less they know. When you ask somebody what they're going to do when a bad guy is breaking into their home and their answer isn't A, pull out my weapon and shoot them, or B, call the police, that means they don't have any idea what they're going to do. And on this whole defund and eliminate the police thing, if you want to have a little experiment in that, because that's not unheard of in the history of mankind, right? No police department, no organized government police department. Okay, fine. Fine. If you want to do that, it's fine. But you get that if you're one of these absolute lefty, disarmed loons in one of these big cities who's going to go from being somebody who pees themselves at the gun range when someone goes bang to having no police, you realize you're now prey, right? That's a big, big jump. If you're going to do the we don't need cops thing, you might want to bone up on your firearms training, because you are like the 400-pound man that shows up to run the Boston Marathon. You're going to die if you don't do some prep work beforehand. Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.